Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Before we start today's video, I just want to say thank you to all of my new subscribers. I see that I have quite a few, and I genuinely appreciate each and every one of you. This channel is just growing so much every day, and I couldn't be more grateful for the people who give a shit enough to watch my videos. So thank you. I genuinely appreciate it. Listen, today's video, as you can see by the title, one of the main questions I get, I think, asked a lot being here in Thailand is, are you ever going to go back to the United States? Would you ever move back to the United States? And you know, under what circumstances would I move back to the United States? And that's honestly not a simple answer. You know what I mean? So what I want to do in this video today is, I was going to call the video something super corny, like, you know, 5 reasons I'll never go back to the US, or 5 reasons I'll never live in the US. But there are 5 reasons. I've kind of boiled it down to 5 main reasons why I'll probably never live in the United States again. And the underlying theme, I think, to all of this, I'm going to throw this term out there. It's called a social contract. In my terms, a social contract is an unspoken and unwritten kind of common courtesy that certain societies have when dealing with one another in public spaces and just in general in life. Okay, now I think that the social contract out in the West is completely different from the social contract you get out here in a lot of the Eastern countries. And so in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why, but I just want you to remember that term, social contract, because it's something I'm going to be touching on throughout the video, and you'll see why, you know, social contract kind of relates to everything. Now, the number 1 reason why I'll probably never move back to the US is the cost of living. Now, I'm not going to go into this one in any kind of depth, because I just put out a video last week on the cost of living here. And not just last week, I put out several videos in the past 2 or 3 months about the cost of living here in Bangkok. I broke it down from several different budget ranges, my budget range, and then I think I gave like a overall, just a general, you know, what it costs to move here kind of video. I'll put those videos up here right now, so you can, you know, check them out at your own convenience if you're interested. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to number 2. The number 2 reason why I don't want to move back to the US is the crime. America is unsafe unless you live in a kind of rural town somewhere, like small town America. And even small town America, like, it has a lot of tweakers. So like, even in the South, out West, it doesn't matter, like whatever small town you go to, whether it's in Nebraska or whether it's in Florida or whether it's in Mississippi or whether it's in the Carolinas, okay? Just because there aren't people carjacking and home invading, I mean, well, there is, but just because it doesn't happen on a large scale, there's still tweakers. Like, America is tweaked out from West to East Coast. Everybody's on drugs. Everybody's on, you know, some kind of prescription drug or some kind of, you know, illegal recreational, let's call it, a recreational drug. And so what it does is it just creates this completely unsafe environment. And I'm not blaming the drugs. Like, it's multifaceted. It's poverty, it's inequality, it's income inequality, it's class inequality. You know, I don't claim to have all the answers or even know all of the reasons why these kinds of things happen in the U.S. But, you know, I definitely think that America's unsafe. Every major city in the U.S., you have to be worried when you leave your home that someone is going to, you know, commit some kind of violent crime on you. You know, and we as Americans have kind of just become accustomed to all of the madness that goes on in our country. And listen, I don't want to come on here and just run my mouth and not be able to back any of it up with substantiating evidence, okay? A lot of people come on social media and they run their mouth, you know, talking about crime rates and how it, you know, it's horrible to live in one place and horrible to live in another. But I've actually come prepared today Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some infographics together, because this took me like 3 or 4 hours to put together. So, but I wanted to have, substantiating evidence. I wanted to have hard facts to point at. I wanted to have statistics for you guys to look at. So let's look at those together. The first graph I'm going to throw up on the screen shows the crime rates and safety, USA versus Thailand. And if you look very closely, you'll see that America has global average homicide rate is 5.9 per 100,000. That's 5.9 incidents per 100,000 residents of whatever demographic we're looking at. Okay? The United States has 358 violent crimes, homicides, rapes, murders, carjackings, assault with a deadly weapon, all of those things. 358 per every 100,000 people, okay? As compared to Thailand, which barely even registers on the map at 2.4 per 100,000, okay? How disgusting is that? And listen, I understand that the United States has a bigger population. So, a lot of these numbers are going to be skewed a lot higher in not doing America kind of the justice. Let's take a look at another graph. This is another graph here showing violent crime per 100,000 people. And you can kind of get a side-by-side comparison. These numbers are from 2023. And total violent crime rate was 363.8 per 100,000 people, as opposed to Thailand is 25 to 35. The homicide rate is 6.3 as opposed to 2.4. A rape and sexual assault is 38.7 as compared to 3.1. And robbery is 55 as compared to 5.2. And like I said before, a lot of these numbers are going to be skewed. Okay, we got 300 million people here, 300 million people in America. And off the top of my head, I don't know what the total population of Thailand is. So obviously the numbers are always going to be higher in America when you compare that to Thailand. That doesn't erase the fact that Thailand is just a much, much safer country than the United States is. Because let's face it, every time you walk out of your door past midnight, you are, risking becoming the victim of a violent crime in the United States. It's not safe for your kids to play at parks by themselves anymore. Unless they live somewhere in rural America. And even those places are getting kind of sketchy now. You know what I mean? The violent crime rate in America is just so disturbingly high. And in America, when you live there, you just get so used to seeing every single night on the news carjackings, armed robberies, attempted murders, crazy domestic violence cases of people wiping out their whole families, kids getting killed, just random acts of violence just every single day. That's all you see on the news, and you just become so accustomed to it as an American that you just think it's normal. You just think it's normal that people are just wild animals and they just murder each other for traffic. Like, I don't know if it's just my algorithm that shows me these things, and it's kind of zooming in and making it look like more than it is, but I thought that too. I thought that I was just in an echo chamber and that, my algorithm was showing me things that I pay attention to, so I did my own research and I looked up the statistics. And sure enough, the statistics in America, the violent crime statistics in America are completely off the chain. Completely off the chain. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. And you know what, when I say these things, people make ignorant comments like, oh, well, you have no business being out of the house at 3 a.m. It's like, are you that fucking brainwashed? I have no business being outside at 3 a.m. Listen, here in Thailand, I can go anywhere I want at any time of the day or night. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 4 a.m., 4 p.m., 5:30 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, doesn't matter. I can go anywhere I want. I can walk down any street I want, and nobody's going to do nothing to me, period. And I'm not just talking out of my ass. I've actually done this. I've actually gone out to the bar by myself and walked home from the bar, which is like 3 fucking miles from the red light district where I like to hang out at. It's literally like 3 miles, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was pissed drunk. And I walked all the way home, and nobody even so much as said anything wrong to me. Nobody even fucking looked at me. And plenty of people were out, people were walking by, people were on motorbikes, people were hanging out. Nobody even pressed me at all. Try doing that in America. Doesn't matter what city you're in. You could be in Austin, Texas. You could be in Miami, Florida. You could be in Lincoln, Lincoln, Nebraska. I don't think you're going to have any problems in Lincoln, Nebraska, but you might. Because I lived in Lincoln. Not in Lincoln. I lived in Nebraska, and there's a lot of tweakers out there. A lot of weird fucking tweakers out there in Nebraska. I guess that's just the point I'm trying to make, is you don't really realize how dangerous America is until you leave. And you come to a country where there's no crime, and there's no tent cities on the sidewalks. There's no people just, like Kensington Avenue in Pennsylvania, where they're just zombies bent over on the street, all fucking fentied out. Like, you don't see those kinds of things in this side of the world, so that just, America is a country in decline. You know what I mean? So that's number 2. That's number 2. The number 3 reason is healthcare. I'm one of those people that I don't go to the hospital unless I feel like I'm dying. And I know that's not good. I know I'm 40 years old now, and I just turned 40, and I haven't been to even get a checkup at the doctor since I was probably 16 or 17. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't gone in for blood work. I haven't had my testosterone levels tested. I haven't gone and let nobody stick their finger up my arse and check my prostate. None of that stuff. Okay, I haven't even gotten a physical. I haven't even gotten a physical in probably 20 years. So it's like, I know I need to get to the doctor, but it's like, in America, forget about it. It's more expensive to go to the ER than to finance a new vehicle or to put a fucking mortgage on a new home. Like, healthcare in America is probably the least affordable healthcare on the entire planet. Literally on the entire fucking planet, in the freest, most prosperous country to ever exist, you can die in the waiting room. I literally know people personally that have gone to emergency and have died in the waiting room because nobody could get to them on time. And it's not like the hospital's flooded with people. There was like 5 people in the waiting room, and they died in the waiting room. So American healthcare is just, it's an absolute joke. It's an embarrassment coming from a first world country. And honestly, I think that just like everything else in America, American healthcare is a fucking scam. And all of the giant corporations just have a, monopoly on health. On healthcare, on pharmaceuticals, on end-of-life care, life-saving drugs, anything that a person needs that if they don't have it, they'll die, has been taken by the corporations in America and turned into a for-profit operation. Like, they literally put a paywall up over drugs that they cost pennies to manufacture, but one pill costs $500. Like that little fucking weasel, Martin Shkreli or whatever his name is, that took those life-saving, I don't remember if it was AIDS patients or cancer patients or chemotherapy or whatever it was. He took the price. He bought the patent and then raised the price like 500% because you're just a fucking piece of shit human being that cares absolutely nothing about other people, about other humans on this planet, and you only care about profit and enriching yourself. And unfortunately, that's just America. That's the healthcare system in America. That's the education system in America. That's the real estate system in America. That's all of it. Now, I want to show you guys some graphs comparing the healthcare system here in Thailand to the healthcare system in the United States. I've actually done my I've done my research today. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this graphic up here on the screen. Check this out. So the metrics are over on the left side, and then you've got Thailand and you've got the United States. So we'll just start with the first graph here, coverage and accessibility. And the metrics are universal coverage, primary care, and medical tourism. Now, Thailand, if you're a citizen of Thailand, you have universal coverage. 99.5% of the population have universal coverage here in Thailand, meaning they can go to the hospital when they get sick, they can get treated, pretty much no copay, and the government just takes care of them. Now that just got announced here in 2002. So, I mean, like, still 23 years ago, but I mean, listen, you can see right over there. If you're an American, you can see that there's no, there's no public health care in America unless you're on Section 8 welfare and you have, I don't know, what do they call that? I've never had it, so I don't know what it is when you get it from the state. But so yeah, there's no mix of private public insurance. It's only private insurance in the U.S. Now, if we look at the primary care access, it's in Thailand, it's high in rural health volunteers and villages. In the United States, it's moderate. Disparities by income and region. Now, what that means is here in Thailand, in the kind of rural, very rural areas of the country, there is a very high primary care access because of volunteers. Now, there's a lot of like nonprofit organizations here in Thailand that they just take care of people. They take care of the sick, they take care of the old, they create programs for blind people. So if you've ever been here to Bangkok, you'll see blind people walking all over the city with a little like speaker strapped to their chest and a microphone. I'm not laughing because it's funny, but I mean, it kind of is. And they just walk around completely blind and they sing songs, and they got a little donation box on their chest. And that's how they eat, because there's no, there's no government programs for like disabled people or like mentally retarded people. So there's a lot of like I said, nonprofit organizations here in Thailand. They just and they help people like that. They help kids, they help the sick, they help the people with cancer. In America, that doesn't exist. You'll die. What do they have in America? Like, you'll have to find like a church to go to in like a rural fucking town somewhere and pray that they have mercy on you and help you, or you have to go set up like a GoFundMe. Or you have to go on Facebook and beg people to send you money, or else you're gonna die. Like, America is it's such a fucking shithole. Back to the graph. Medical tourism, looking at the last metric for this graph. World leader, 2.5 million patients per year travel here to Thailand to get medical care because it's just too expensive in their home countries. Now, I didn't go and look what countries visit Thailand the most to get medical care. I mean, I'm assuming it's almost all Western countries and the Middle Eastern countries, as well as probably Indian countries. In the United States, medical tourism is very rare. The only time people come to the United States for medical tourism is if they need like a very, very specialized surgery done. And it can only be done at like a certain hospital in America by a certain doctor. And then you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to get that operation done or get that procedure taken care of. So let's look at the second graph, cost and affordability. And the metrics on the left side are annual spending per capita, meaning the annual spending per household that on healthcare, the percentage of GDP spent on healthcare per country, obviously, and then the out-of-pocket costs per citizen of that country. And you can clearly see Thailand is winning in almost every category. Annual spending per capita per household is about $340 on healthcare, as opposed to $12,900 in the U.S. The number of GDP spent on healthcare is around 4.3%, whereas in the United States it's 18.3%, which is the highest globally. I mean, the United States is beating out Europe. They're beating out Russia. They're beating out the UK. They're beating out. It's insanity. Like, it's insanity. And everybody knows that the healthcare system in America is just a big old fucking fat joke. Period. You'll die. You'll die in America if you're not a millionaire in America and you get some kind of debilitating like cancer or some kind of weird disease, some kind of nervous disease or brain cancer. You're fucked. You're fucked. Like, if you're from a low-income household and you don't know anybody with money or anybody can take a loan out, you're fucked. You're gonna die. Unfortunate. Out-of-pocket costs. You can see Thailand is just absolutely killing it. In the United States, average deductible for someone with healthcare through their employer is around $1,300. Now, I've tried to get healthcare several times in the U.S. I've had it several times through different companies I've worked for, and what they took out of my check every week was fucking criminal. Period. It was fucking criminal. And then when I tried to get healthcare on my own, they wanted like $3,500 up front. I got like 4 or 5 different quotes, and I think the lowest was $3,500 to get the policy started. And then it was somewhere between $450 to $650 a month for me. Single, not married, no kids. I don't smoke. I have no pre-existing health conditions besides my Crohn's disease, which I'm not on medication for, and it's manageable. And to be honest, I lied about it when I filled out the paperwork to get the quote. So imagine if I would have put it on there, it would have been a lot higher. Yeah, you know, healthcare here in Thailand is affordable. So I have traveler's insurance, which means I'm pretty much covered in any country I go to. And for 1 year, I'm with Safety Wing, by the way, and not sponsored at all. But for 1 year, it was around $1,000 US, which means, and they cover everything. If I break my leg, if I get food poisoning, if I get into a crash on the motorbike, a whole myriad of things. If anything goes wrong, my copay, like if I go to the hospital, I get, say, I don't know, $3,000 US worth of medical treatment. My copay was probably going to be around between 3 to 5%. So maybe $100, maybe $150, $200 US for $3,000, $4,000 US worth of care. Not to mention like almost zero copay on medication. So if I'm prescribed medication here, I almost have like a zero copay, I believe. I believe it's either 0 or it's like 1%. It's something that's it's so small that it's insignificant. You know, so if I need any kind of medication, I'm covered. I'm 40 years old. I've never been able to afford medical insurance my entire life. And now that I live here in Thailand, I can afford medical insurance. It's that simple. You know, so if you want to die, stay in America. You know what I mean? And if you want to live, leave. And that's just how I feel about it. No, that sounds crazy. Don't do that. Number 4. What was number 4? I got to look at my notes. I completely forgot what number 4 is. The number 4 reason why I probably will never step foot on U.S. soil again is the work and hustle culture in the United States. Now, listen, I'm all about capitalism. I understand how it works. I understand why it's necessary. And I understand why people, you know, kind of let it take control of their lives. And just goes back to like what I've been mentioning before is social contract. Like in Thailand, first of all, Thailand's a country that's never been conquered. They've never been invaded and they've never been conquered for the entire history of their existence. So what that means is Thailand has culture that is so rich. And it's never been tainted by, say, like, I don't know, for example, like Brazil. Brazil was colonized by the Spanish, you know, way back when. I don't know the exact year, the exact date, but Brazil was conquered by the Spanish, and that's where the entire Brazilian language came from. Portuguese is a mix between Spanish and French. So it's just like, you know, different countries get their languages change. Their social norms change, the way their culture operates changes. But here in Thailand, that's just not the case. Like Thailand has been Thailand since the very fucking beginning. So the culture here is just so progressively different from the West. Like, so in the West, for instance, and like I said, in all my videos, I can only talk about America. In America, there is no culture, period. Like in the 1950s, Hollywood was created, and Hollywood has pretty much shaped the minds of the entire nation of America for the last 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, period. Every American, their entire personality consists of what TV shows they watch growing up, what movies influenced them growing up, what music they listen to, and, you know, the same with all of their friends. That's America. American culture is consumerism, capitalism. Yeah, I don't know. There's another one. But that's what America is. It's just consumerism culture. America's an experiment, pretty much. Now, I have another graph for you guys to look at. I'm going to throw this up on the screen. Let's just go ahead and look at this graph. Workplace culture. And we're going to look at the, you know, comparison between, once again, Thailand and the United States. And we'll look again at the metrics on the left side of the screen. Starting at the top, the first one is hierarchy, overtime norms, job security, and employee loyalty. Hierarchy. In Thailand, the high power distance, respect for seniority. High power distance, respect for seniority. Now what that means is there's a hierarchy here in Thailand. The people who are lower on the totem pole respect the people that are higher on the totem pole, because here in Thailand, the people who are kind of higher up, they didn't get there by robbing, stealing, cheating, and lying like they do in the US. So most people that hold positions of power in the US, doesn't matter what system it is, whether it's the criminal justice system, the educational system, or, you know, just a hierarchy down at your fucking local Burger King. Okay? You have to be a sociopath to climb the social ladder in the United States. You can't do it being a good person. And that goes back to how rotten the social contract is in the West. As opposed to here in Thailand, people get raises and people get, you know, elevated to positions of power because they deserve it, because they work hard, because they're trustworthy, because they're decent to the people around them, and the people that are already high up that work to get themselves there before them, they see that and then they elevate them up to a higher position. So the people that are down on the lower positions on whatever hierarchy it is here in Thailand, they respect the people in the higher positions. And in the United States, not so much. It's pretty much a flatter structure, and it's just an emphasis on merit. You know, what can you provide? How much have you accomplished? You know, what kind of value have you provided? Basically, whose ass have you kissed? Who do you know? Who are you getting to do your work? It's just social contract, folks. Social contract. So let's look at overtime norms. In Thailand, it's common, but less intense, e.g. FaceTime. Now, in the United States, it's expected in many sectors. Let's go ahead and break that down. So people work hard here in Thailand. They do a lot of overtime, but first of all, it's not mandatory. It's not expected. And it's just something that they do when they have to. You know what I mean? Like if they have a debt to pay or they have bills to pay this month, then they'll work a little bit of overtime. But if they don't, then they won't. In the US, it's one of those, you know, work until you die. If you're not at work, you're not a good person. You know what I mean? So, and a perfect example of that is, a lot of you folks don't know is I worked for Tesla when I lived in California. Okay, I worked at the Fremont plant. I was on the logistics team. I was there 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Mandatory. Mandatory, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. I was there from 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. And then they switched my fucking shift on me out of nowhere, and I worked 6 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning. And then they hit you with, oh, and Sundays are optional. So really, they want you working 7 days a week. American corporations only care about the bottom line. They don't care about you as a person. They don't care about your health, nor physical, nor mental. They don't give a shit. All of those pizza parties and team building exercises were created by somebody in cost accounting, because they were sitting around probably having a meeting thinking about, oh, how can we get people to work harder so we can make more money without having them to pay higher wages. So they do team building experiences and throw you pizza parties and have a casual fucking Friday, okay? And they do that so they don't have to pay you a higher wage, and they kind of psychologically mind fuck you into working more hours, thinking that you're part of something, you belong to a family, you belong to a team. Whereas in reality, it's all fucking horse shit, and that whole work until you're fucking dead mentality of the West is absolute fucking, it's garbage. This is all my opinion, folks. Okay, now this is all my opinion. I'm just talking out of the side of my face here. Let's get to this fucking graph. Job security, moderate, high informal employment, low at-will employment in most states. So what does that mean? So job security here in Thailand is a lot different because they don't outsource all of their labor and all of their manufacturing to different countries. They keep it all here in Thailand because the Thai government understand the importance of keeping the population employed. Whereas in the US, they don't give a fuck. They will close down a plant fire 5,000 people, move all the jobs down to Mexico or over China so that they can save $100 million a year. And they'll watch 5,000 people lose their jobs and an entire fucking town lose their livelihood and wither and fucking die. All in the name of profit. Because America is a corporatocracy, and it is all run by oligarchs that give absolutely zero fucks about the population, about the well-being of the population. And here in Thailand, like I said before, the government understands the importance of keeping the Thai population employed with jobs that they're able to, you know, afford food and a place to live. Bare minimum, they're able to afford all of the things that will keep you alive and keep a roof over your head. And that's just not the case in the U.S. Now, let's look at the last sector or section we have here, and it's called employee loyalty. High lifetime employment valued, and in America, lower. Average job tenure, 4.1 years. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. Here in Thailand, most people work at the same job their entire life. The youngsters, you know, jump around, but for the most part, when someone goes to work for a company, as long as that company is open, that person will stay at that job. The whole transient, you know, working at one place for 2 years, another place for 2 years. In America, as you can clearly see, it's 4.1 years on average one person spends at any given job at any given time. And that's, you know, for a whole myriad of reasons. Wage inequality, and the cost of living in America fucking just fluctuates so wildly that if I'm making $15 an hour at a job and every year my rent goes up, simply because the fucking landlords can. And that's another thing that makes me fucking sick about America. Every year your rent goes up, guaranteed, because there's no law stopping them from doing it. Social contract, folks. Social contract. Motherfuckers in the U.S. that have any kind of wealth are all a bunch of greedy fucking pigs. And landlords included. Landlords are the worst ones. Landlords are little fucking weasels. Little fucking weasels. They will raise your rent every fucking year just because they can. Just for the simple fucking fact because there's not a law preventing them from doing so. Fucking disgusting. It's disgusting. Here in Thailand, it's not, you know, and I'm not trying to make this place sound like paradise. It's just, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like the sickness they have out in the West, in the U.S., just doesn't exist here because of the social contract that the people have with each other is just kind of fucking hardwired into their DNA. And that's what makes fucking Thailand such a great place to live. Let's go ahead and get to the number 5 reason that I will never step foot on U.S. soil again. I gotta check my notes. Number 4. Okay, number 5. It's just happiness and freedom. And we can look at all the other categories above, and I think you can understand why the happiness and freedom here you have here in Thailand as opposed to the United States is night and day. I didn't know what freedom was until I moved here to Thailand. I didn't know what happiness was until I moved here to Thailand. Like, I had no fucking clue. I had absolutely no fucking clue. Like, and this hit me the other day when I was out, I was getting my hair cut and I was sitting outside the barbershop and I was waiting for the barber to get done with another client. And I was watching people on the street walk by. Everyone had a smile on their face. Guys and gals were holding hands and laughing, and there was like, you know, school-aged kids walking by, and they were all like, you know, having fun and laughing, and people were on their phones texting and smiling, and it just seems like everywhere you go here, people are just fucking happy. Like in the U.S., like you'll go out and you'll go to a gas station and you just hear somebody fucking going off, and you're just like, what the fuck? You don't realize how much that affects your life, even though it has nothing to do with you. Every time you step out into public in the United States, you see a fight, either a physical altercation between two people, you see a verbal altercation between two people, you see a road rage incident, you see some kind of violent crime, or you see just somebody acting just like a complete fucking degenerate, screaming and yelling in public, or they're on a call on speakerphone, and there's 1,000 people around, and they're and they're fucking. People don't do that here. When you get on a subway system here, people are quiet. Like in the United States, I don't think that Americans realize that conversations are meant to be private when you're in public. So whether you're having a conversation with another person or a conversation on the phone, it's meant to be private. Nobody around you should be able to hear what you're saying or you know, being involved in your conversation. Social contract, folks. It's just an unspoken, unwritten rule here in the East, especially here in Thailand, that you just, when you're in public, you carry yourself a certain way. Whereas in the United States, I feel like there's a contest to see who can act like the wildest fucking animal and do the most outrageous things in public just for fucking sheer shock value. Just for sheer shock value. And it's disgusting. It's absolutely fucking disgusting, and I hate it. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize how fucked up the United States is until I left. Until I moved, and I'm just not around the chaos anymore. I don't have to deal with the fucking stress and the problems. I don't have to deal with it, you know? So to answer your guys' question, no. I'm never going back. I will never step foot on US soil ever again. And I don't give a fuck. I straight don't give a fuck. I'm never going back. I will do whatever I have to do not to go back. I'll be fucking homeless here on the streets of Thailand. I will eat out of fucking garbage cans here in Thailand before I ever spend one fucking day back in the United States, period. I'm never going back. That's my rant for the day. That's the 5 reasons why I will never step foot on US soil again. You know what I mean? You know, listen, you guys do your own research. Look at the statistics. Just check the violent crime statistics in the US compared to anywhere else in the world. You will see why the US is a dangerous fucking shithole, at least in the major cities. At least in the majors. I'm not shitting on all of America, but at least in the major city. Yeah, I'm gonna come off it now. I'm gonna come off it now and end the video. Listen, thank you guys for subscribing. If you guys haven't checked out my Shopify, please go and check out my Shopify now. I would genuinely appreciate it. Buy a t-shirt, help a guy out. You know, the little couple dollars I make on each t-shirt really makes a difference here in Thailand. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button now, as well as the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future content. What else? I don't know. I think that's gonna about do it. I'm done yelling at the camera. You guys have a great evening or day or whatever it is, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.